Hello, Gai le Roy of IAB Australia, the CEO, and Ben Allman, Head of Sales for Broadsign Australia, New Zealand, and also co-chair of the IAB Digital Out of Home Working Group. Now, you're both speaking at AdTECH Out of Home in Sydney on August the 17th, and you're going to give us an update on the 2022 annual State of the Nation survey with respect to industry attitudes to programmatic digital out of home. Really looking forward to that insight. The survey, Gai, is an IAB Working Group initiative. Firstly, can you tell us a bit more about the working group, how it works and what you're trying to achieve?
Sure, Joe. So the working group was set up a few years ago. My memory is a bit rusty, but when out of home, it was becoming more digital, and digital out of home was becoming more tech focused. Some of that was tech in the supply chain, but increasingly programmatic out of home. So we have a fantastic group of 26 different organizations that sit both vendor, AdTECH, agency, and anyone in between, who get together and discuss the main issues in the industry. And as with any sort of broad industry groups, there's great energy to improve the market and areas for debate, which any involving industry needs those sort of really honest conversations up front to get the industry moving. But we're really lucky to have such an engaged group driving education, driving initiatives, driving advocacy for particularly programmatic digital out of home in the market. Yeah.
Fantastic. Ben, you're co-chair of the working group and doing a tremendous job of it, if I could say that. Have you got anything to add to that? And also, could you give us some insight into what are the key areas that we're expecting to get updates on in this year's survey?
Thanks. Thanks for the warm endorsement, Joe. Really appreciate it. I mean, in regards to the digital out of home working group, specifically, Gai's the CEO of the IAB, so unsurprisingly puts it far more eloquently than I could. But a big part of our charter is essentially around demystifying digital out of home. And a lot of that comes through, I guess, providing buyers with education and sort of shining a light on best practices. And I guess this survey is just one of the kind of key initiatives that we're working through, as a group, as part of that. But in terms of the survey itself, the programmatic digital out of home space, because that's what this survey is all about, it's come a long way in the last 12 months. So the survey is obviously a snapshot in time, but as much as possible, we try and sort of strike a balance between ensuring some consistency with the previous survey. And last year's survey was the inaugural survey. It was the first time we'd sort of done this as a working group in Australia, and the response was fantastic, hence why we want to do it again. So we want to ensure that there's some consistency there with the previous survey so that we are able to identify what's the same and what's different. Where have there been some sort of key shifts in the market or in the programmatic digital out of home space? But we've also tried to dive into a few new areas as well, which Gai and I will cover in a bit more depth as part of the AdTECH Out of Home conference on the 17th of next month.
Yeah. Brilliant. Yeah, I know there's a lot of work that goes into preparing the survey, and I know that it's in market at the moment, I believe. So, Gai, what's different about the survey and the way that you've gone to market with it this year?
This year's bigger and better, should I say. So the survey results are really used for two main purposes. It's to give particularly the buyer side a bit of a benchmark of what's going on their side, so they can compare where their agency is versus others, what people are planning on doing, but also telling us as an industry what are the opportunities, barriers, all that sort of thing. So taking that into consideration, this year we've worked really closely with the agencies, and particularly ones that are not just involved in the digital side of things. So the Media Federation here has a working group. We're full of working groups called the Outdoors Future Council, and they've been really supportive of this research. So we've sort of broadened it out a little bit in terms of respondents and questions, and we can do a little bit more comparison on the traditional out-of-home buying experience, expectations, objectives with the programmatic side of things, and bring those two worlds, which is, you know, what the working group is trying to do, bringing those two worlds together, understand those differences.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, I'm really looking forward to understanding more about how things have changed in the last 12 months. Everything's changing so quickly. It's so important to stay on top of it. So great work bringing this stuff together. Briefly, to finish, is there anything else that you think is a key theme that is going to happen in the next 6 to 12 months that we might also cover at the conference?
Look, I think the results will show us a lot of information. You know, if we think about the survey that we did last year, it was, you know, still in the midst of COVID, you know, and I hate being obsessed with the COVID situation, but this year we're, you know, not out of it, but we're in a much different state. And a lot of the drivers for programmatic digital out-of-home in the survey last year were around particularly that flexibility that was needed during COVID. I'm really interested to see, and we're not going to give anything away yet, Joe, because everyone's got to come to the conference, in the change in those drivers of why people are investing in programmatic digital out-of-home. So rather than sort of just more reactive, I need this lever right now because of COVID, and hopefully, particularly programmatic digital out-of-home showing its worth, and people are thinking about investing for a variety of different reasons.
Yeah, fantastic. Ben, anything to add?
Yeah, as Gai mentioned, I think the survey will probably reveal quite a lot in regards to where the focus is going to be over the coming 6 to 12 months. I think where we've sort of progressed over the past 12 months or so is we've I guess moved from a position where we were very much in a test and learn phase when it comes to programmatic digital out of home, whereas in most cases now, I think the value proposition is quite clearly established. Those who are transacting digital out of home programmatically, they know it works. So I think there's probably going to be a bit of a shift in focus into what can we do to make this better? And yes, tech plays a big part of that, but there are a whole range of other factors as well. Things like creative, and I know that's covered as part of the agenda for AdTECH out of home. And well done, by the way, Joe. It's a cracking agenda. I was taking a look at it earlier today. So I think they're going to be, they're going to be certainly key themes that will potentially come out through the survey. As Gai said, we'll have to wait for those results, and obviously we don't want to disclose too much now because we want you to all come along to the conference. But I can imagine they're going to be a big focus and big talking points over the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing you guys there and talking more about that with a couple of hundred people in the room.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Joe.